What's up, pimp and pimpettes? This is the Canuckleheads podcast, episode 6. My name is Justin. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Wes. And we have Canucks games to talk about. First thing, we're going to kick it off with the Canucks hype video, the Heroes Return. Fucking awesome.
It was awesome.
The Canucks team, like social media team, players that worked on it, just everybody that worked on it did a great job. It's on the Canucks YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out because it is good.
I really liked like the comic book vibe that they went with, and I instantly sent it to Chris because I was like, he's gonna love this too, even though he's not a big hockey guy. And yeah, he said it was awesome. He was wondering if other teams did it too, but just us because we're special, baby. Let's go.
So obviously I liked it because it was a Canucks thing, but there's so many little parts I love about it, like Miller being Johnny Canuck.
That was huge. Which they almost, like, I bet if it would have happened a few weeks later, they would have put Garland as Johnny Canuck. Yeah. Exactly.
I love Petey as a Jedi. Mm-hmm. That was pretty awesome. I love Besser punching the stick out of the ice, and then Bo being Bo, like Batman kind of, I think is what they're going for there. It was
super cool.
Yeah. Next, we had a comment on our last video there. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name.
I'll pull it up, actually, because I did want to actually shout him out. I love constructive criticism, and if there's stuff we can work on, that's what we said in the first video. Comment down below, and we'll look at it, and we'll definitely review it. I'll just look up the name here quickly.
So I'll just...
James Fairclough? I hope I'm pronouncing it properly, but yeah.
So he just said that we started off with a negative comment last week, and it's just because it was not a good week, right? Like, we lost to Buffalo and Detroit, two of like what should supposedly be the lesser teams in the league, even though they're both off to good starts.
Yep.
It's just, we felt we could win those games, and like, player point totals are nice and everything, but at the end of the year, it's wins, right? Like,
it's wins.
Yeah, you don't care about regular season points. You want some playoff points because those are the big ones.
For sure. And but we are happy that you put some constructive criticism down below. It is nice. But at the end of the day, we did say it just wasn't a great week. It still was a decent week. It wasn't a great week.
Yeah. And we have no control over that, right? It's just how we view it.
Exactly.
We're just saying what the team did and how we viewed it. So.
But thank you for commenting, and we really do hope you view more videos in the future.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go over some fucking games here, Wes.
Yep.
We had a game against the Seattle Kraken.
Great game.
October 23rd. This was in Vancouver. No, this was in Seattle. This was the first ever game.
Yep.
Home game for the Seattle Kraken. Vasily Podkolzin was scratched again for the second game in a row. So kind of sucked a little bit, but again, you see why Green does it, right? Like, give him a different view of the game. Now that he's experienced in NHL pace, you can watch it and maybe you get a different eye for how plays develop or certain situations on the ice. It really
lets you have like an outsider perspective on the way that the team is playing and the way that you should be playing.
Yeah. And
you start thinking about yourself if you were slotted in the lineup, what you would have done in that game. It's just a good outsider perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, so as much as you... Like, I'd like to see him play, but also it's not the end of the world.
No.
The crowd was into it. It was a great crowd in Seattle. I don't like that everybody is trying to create a rivalry already, even though it did feel like they did kind of hate each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Just let it happen. Like,
you got to let the bad blood boil. You can't just start off with bad blood when there's no ill will whatsoever. Yeah. You have to let it build over the years, and it will.
You can't just be like, oh, these teams are close, they hate each other. You know what I mean? Like, stuff has to happen.
Yep.
Let's have a playoff series against the Kraken or something like that.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah. So one thing I had noted here is that the third line was flying this game. It was Hogg, Highmore, and Dickinson, and they were really good. Highmore's been really good. Hoglander's been our best or second best player all year.
Yeah,
from the start of the year.
He always brings that high energy and always makes good play. He just wins all the board battles he can. He works really hard. Love Hogg. Yeah.
I think this is like the third time we've said that. But
he's just such a good player. Like I love him.
So we had a goal by Bo Horvat. So it took 15 minutes in this game for the Canucks to get a shot, like, between shots on net.
Yeah.
And that cannot happen.
Yeah.
Even if you're just throwing a puck on net or something, like 15, almost a full period.
Which, don't want to get ahead of myself because I did last episode, but in the Philly game, we struggled with the same thing.
Yeah. No, this was a trend for all 3 games we're going to cover this week. But that's just ridiculous. And I don't... how do you manage that as a team?
Which, this kind of goes back to when we have possession of the puck, making the right choices with the puck. Like Green talked about it early this season, that we were kind of just throwing it out there and not really maintaining possession and really controlling the puck, and it's still something that we're struggling with. So it's something we're going to have to get better with as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just a good goal from the captain. Then I have noted that Thatcher Demko is a madman.
Yeah.
He had a great game against the Kraken here.
I told you, man, the shaved salad, he's coming for business this year.
He it pulled a puck off the blue line that was going in, made a save, dropped a stick, grabbed a puck with a blocker, Dominik Hasek style.
That one that snuck through and he grabbed it with the glove, on the goal line. Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, he was great. And it's good to see again, right? Because that, again, was a big question going in this year. It was his first year as the guy, right?
Making big money.
Yeah, last year they brought in Holtby to be a 1A, 1B.
Yep.
It wound up being Thatcher was our guy, and now it's Halak is clearly a backup, and Thatcher is our guy. So
he's the guy.
It's nice to see him stepping up and performing like a number 1 goalie. That I think everybody believed he was and could be. So
yeah, he is.
Another thing I have noted here too is that I really like Kyle Burroughs.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of, they haven't really had a ton of tough matchups yet, him and Jack Rathbone on the third pairing.
Yeah.
But they've been solid, and Burroughs is he's just turning into a good, hard to play against defenseman, right?
Yeah.
He'll throw hits. I think he leads the team in hits, or he did at this point. And
I wouldn't be surprised. He's definitely throwing the body out there. He has a more aggressive game than I thought originally.
Yeah.
I liked seeing him play more aggressively and kind of challenge guys out there. It's nice to see because we don't have a ton of guys in the lineup that do that. And then also on Rathbone, I just felt like the only thing that he really needs to work on is just his bad turnovers. And obviously when you first start out in the league, that's going to happen. And he's going to start to learn how to set up plays correctly and not to make too big a risks on the blue line. But he's getting it dialed. Yeah,
you see it from every rookie defenseman, right? Quinn Hughes did it. It's just something 100%. You learn.
It's a different league. You're playing with the best players in the world. They're going to take advantage of any little opportunity you give them. So
and it's easy to watch the game and pick out certain players like Chason where you're this guy's slow, but realistically he'd burn me on the ice, no problem.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's just turning into a really good, hard to play against defenseman. And that, I think he's a guy that you can play a full 82 games, and he's on a value deal too. So that's things we need to be a successful team. You got to find players like that.
I agree.
And it goes kind of back to what we talked about last episode with the Chason contract. At least it's a 1-year league minimum, right?
Exactly. That's what we want to see out of Jim Benning, not these ridiculous contracts for guys that are getting older. And that's the thing in Burroughs' case, he's not old, but it's just you can't throw ridiculous numbers out there for guys that aren't going to be staples.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he is becoming a staple in this lineup.
For sure.
Another thing I had noted here is that Petey got bumped down to the third line with Hogg and Highmore, and the way I viewed this was it's kind of a demotion for Petey, but I also see it as more of a let's give him Hoglander to get him going. I think it's more of a praise for Hoglander than it is a demotion for Petey because he was... For
sure. And also, I think Green is just trying to get Petey motivated in the sense that he won't be playing against the top 2 lines. So maybe he'll be able to make some of those dangles through the zone and be able to kind of get past some guys on the third line where it kind of gets his confidence back up. And that's all I really... I didn't put too much into that. I just think he's trying to mix up the lines a little bit more and get some scoring out of all 3 lines, which Petey's a goal scorer at heart, so he'll do that.
Yeah, and again, I view this as Green seeing that Hogg is going, and he's...
No, for sure.
Yeah, he's been going all year, so let's put him with Petey to try and get
him a good
Petey
partner.
Going.
If
somebody's got to drag Petey into the fight, then so be it, and let's throw him with this guy. And they've played good together. They have a chemistry for playing very few minutes together.
Yep, I agree.
And Highmore has been surprisingly good too. After last year, I think it took him a while to adjust.
Me too. And I was throwing a lot of chirps Highmore's way. We didn't have the pod yet. You guys probably would have heard it. I was not impressed with Highmore just because I was a big Gaudette guy, goal scorer, different celly every goal.
And
but
Gods was fun.
He was fun, and that's why I was kind of disappointed on it. But now I'm really starting to see Highmore's game, and I'm starting to see why they made that move. And man, is he good. Like, he has speed, and he can chip the puck to guys out front and make great plays.
Yeah.
It's really disappointing that he's injured. I hope it's not a long-term thing. I think it's just going to be a couple games maybe, but hopefully he's back in the lineup soon.
Yeah, and like with Gaudette has flashes of things that, you know, show him some offensive potential, but I think Highmore has a more consistent game, and he's more of what we needed, where it's a faster player that can fill in the bottom six, which is what we were lacking last year.
And it's funny, I think we learned from the Jake Virtanen thing. Like, let's not invest too many years into a guy who's not working out. Like,
yeah,
let's not spend 5 years on Gaudette when maybe that's all he is as a player.
Yeah, like when the
right?
second you draft him, that's his value is peaked already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like maybe we did, like, if we were going to trade him, it probably should have been the year before when he had 15 and 11 goals, whatever it was.
More value.
Like, but
yep.
You know, we still were confident in him that he could develop into a full-time player. But.
And at that note too, like, I think we got a good trade. Like, I think like we got a great player in Highmore. He brings high energy, he wins battles, and he's shown that he can dish in front of the net and get guys goals, and that's all we need out of him.
Yeah. So yeah, then we had another goal by Beaufort William Horvat on the power play.
That a nice goal.
Yep. Great puck movement and just a rebound from a point shot from Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Bo was like, he was big in this game. He came up clutch, and you like seeing that from your captain, like leading by example.
I was gonna say those exact words out of my mouth. Like, Bo just proves every season since he's got the C why they gave him the C. Like, he's been the driver for us. He's been winning battles. He's been working hard. Like, you always get that consistent game out of Bo, which I love.
And Bo's not a young guy anymore, but he's not old either.
No.
But he's been here, and he's seen some shit playing with the Canucks, right? Like, he's been to the bottom of the league.
He's been with the Sedins.
Yeah,
like,
he's been in the playoffs, and he's been great in the playoffs. Like, he is the right guy for the job to be the captain in Vancouver.
100%. There's no other guy I'd rather see wearing that C.
Yeah, and it's great to see him leading by example out on the ice, because I don't really think he's the most vocal guy in the locker room. I think that's more of a JT Miller kind of thing. But.
Yep, and that's what I liked that he said. He said, I'm not going to change. Like, I'm going to show out on the ice what I'm trying to preach to these guys. I'm not going to be talking a whole bunch in the dressing room. I like guys that lead by example on the ice.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, so good job from Bo there. Then we had a great goal from Conor Garland. Stole a point for us here. Stole 2 points for us. Had a partial break. Just showed great hustle. Faked. Grubauer out with a fake slap shot, and then just went 5-hole on him. And
right between the wickets,
I think
baby.
There was 4 minutes and change left in the game at that point, and it was tied to 2. So,
which, this is a mental note I had queued up because a lot of people didn't watch the regular broadcast, and if you didn't, then you missed a big note here. There was a fan sitting behind Conor Garland, just absolutely giving it to him the entire time. Garland goes out, gets that goal, stares that fan down, lets him know who's the boss. And the episode, like, because I watch highlights all the time, and it said "King Shit" by Conor Garland. Then I just loved that title. So shout out to whoever did that.
Yeah. Great effort from Garland.
Yeah.
Then we had an empty net goal by Justin Dowling. Good battles from Brock and Millsy to win some puck battles on the boards and set them up for a goal. So
yeah,
we have a 4-2 Canucks win in Seattle.
Great game.
Yeah,
very entertaining game.
This was the last game of a 6-game road trip to start the season. It's still crazy to me that after 3 weeks, then we had our home opener, right? Like, and the Islanders, because their arena is under construction, are actually longer. I think they still have another couple weeks before they have a home opener.
No, for sure.
So yeah, it was a good way to end the road trip. I'd say all in all, it was pretty successful. Like, you definitely would like to have the 4 extra points from Buffalo and Detroit, but you know, I think we came away with 7 points in these games, so it's not bad for going through every time zone in the NHL. And Yeah. Okay, so next we were at home for the Canucks home opener, October 26th against the Minnesota Wild. Again, they played the intro hype video to get all the fans going, and just from everything I've seen on Twitter so far, like it's just pretty universally loved by all the Canucks fans. So.
100%. It was such a sick video.
Yeah. So again, great work to the Canucks social media team and everybody who was a part of that.
I'm sure a lot of money went into that.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So yeah, first home game, Vasily Podkolzin was back in, so that was nice to see. I think it was by design from Green to let him be a part of the home opener, right?
For sure.
Get your name introduced, have the fans cheer you on and everything, because there's a lot of hype behind Podkolzin, and the fans want to see him. So
couldn't have said that any better.
Yeah, it's nice to see him get to play at home in a home opener like that. Justin Bailey was called up, and this was his first game of the year too. We had no Dickinson or Dowling, so hopefully those guys are back soon. I'm not sure what happened to either of them, but
it must have just been small hits against the board where you don't really notice anything, and sometimes that's how the injuries come. It's not the biggest hits. It's not the
practice or something.
Exactly. It could just be little things that are nagging, but they just want to get healthy and get back in the line. So
just another thing I had noted here: the two Johns, John Garrett and John Shorthouse, are announcers. They're the best in the NHL.
I love them.
They're so good. I love that they talk about things outside of hockey and it's nice to see John Garrett back. He was under lockdown for close contact with somebody with COVID, so he was quarantining for a bit there. So he missed the first 2 weeks of the broadcasting, like being in the booth. So it was good to have him back. It was great to have fans in the building.
Yeah.
The building was going crazy during the national anthem and everything. Like it was just nice to see.
And another quick note on the national anthem. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but during the Canadian national anthem, every time now they're just letting the crowd go wild. They're letting the crowd sing it, which I love. It just shows that energy in the building, really gets the players excited. And that was one thing that Bo talked about in one of his interviews. He said that he thought, quote, that it sucked not having fans there and just fake fan noises in the building. No one wants to play under those circumstances. And Bo's a guy who really feeds off the crowd. I think the rest of the team is as well. So it's really nice to see fans back.
And then speaking of the fans, on PD's first shift of the game, there was a PD chant going around, which is nice to see. I
love that.
Yeah, everybody knows he's struggling a little bit, so it was nice to see the fans trying to get him going, right?
Get under him
and
get him going.
Energy,
let him score a goal. Let him get that big slap shot off.
So Canucks fans, good job there.
Yeah.
And then we were right back to regular hockey, where the Canucks got 2 penalty minutes for playing hockey, or 2 penalties for playing hockey. I don't believe Minnesota scored on either of those chances, but it's just, again, light calls that shouldn't have been calls, but whatever, it happens.
It happens.
Justin Bailey looked good this game. He was on the penalty kill one with Miller, and I thought he fit in great. He's got lots of speed.
He's got the speed to do it. That's the thing, and I like how they told him that's what he had to work on, and they gave him tons of that time down in Abbotsford or wherever he was playing at the time. Not sure if it was Utica.
Yeah, it was Utica last year.
They gave him that chance out there so that he could practice to come to the NHL level and do it, and he's been great so far.
Yeah, I thought he was good all game on the penalty kill. I like having him there.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this earlier, when Mott comes back, that's not a bad guy to play with Mott.
No,
two guys that can skate.
Really wheel. Yeah.
And, if maybe Brandon Sutter is a rotational center, right, with Lamico, and, I don't mind a Lamico, Mott, Bailey line.
He would fit in perfectly with that line because they're great speed and they all lay hits. They're a very aggressive line, and Lamico's been amazing so far. So
and
to put Mott with him, I think that's a good fit.
Yeah, and we talked about it before we started recording. Lamico knows what kind of player he is and what he has to bring, and I think all three of those guys do.
Yep.
And they all Lamico is not the most offensive guy, but neither is Sutter.
He's gonna come out and make everyone that's out there work.
Yeah. Which is what you want against the fourth line, right? Control some play, don't get hemmed in your own zone.
And tire the other team out.
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
And that line, those two guys would have some speed. I would be definitely all right with that, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So we had a power play goal by Chase On, another one of our favorites that we bring up basically every episode.
Yep, which this one, like, I was literally yelling at the TV, Green, what are you doing? Like, you guys don't understand. Like, I've been so grateful of Travis Green, and, like, I say this and that about him. Like, I'm so happy he's our coach. But the fact that he keeps putting him on PP1 was just driving me insane. But then, there he goes. Petey with the sick pass right on the tape, deflection into the net. That's why Green has him out there.
Yeah. And I was in the same boat as West, too. They had a couple other power plays before this, and I was just like, get rid of Chiasson.
Yeah.
But then he scores a goal, so it
is what it is. But that's the thing. Here's the conversation. Is our power play more effective with Brock Besser instead of Chiasson, or is it more effective with Chiasson? And we had quite a few power plays already with Chiasson on it, and I didn't feel we were too effective. So maybe as the season goes on, if it continues in this trend, I think they might stick Brock Besser back on. But I think it's just kind of a feeler out right now, and they're going to see if Chiasson's more effective.
Part of it, too, is just I don't think the power play in general has been
great.
Yeah.
And another thing, too, is our PP2 is so dangerous if you have Brock and Garland on it. Like, we didn't have that choice last year.
Or OEL, like a guy who could be running a first...
Exactly. Yeah. We didn't have those options on Power Play 2 last season, so I think Green's just kind of spreading it out a little bit thicker so that we have a PP1 and a PP2. So if our Power Play 1 isn't performing, stick Power Play 2 out there because we got some monsters on Power Play 2 this year.
Yeah, and that's as much as I'm in the same boat where I kind of want a loaded up Power Play 1. It's nice to have those options where you can spread it out too, because sometimes, like, if for whatever reason the first unit isn't going, like, just swap them out after 50 seconds. Which
happens to us.
Yes, it does. Then we have another goal by Beaufort Williams Scorvat. Classic Bow rush to the net. Great backhander. He came up clutch with this one because the building was kind of losing some steam. And
the timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah, Bo brought the fans back into this one.
What I liked about the goal is you see him rushing the net, you see that backhand go in, the whole crowd stands up.
Yeah.
And that's why Bo loves playing in front of fans. Like, that's just his style of play. He excites people. And that was a great rush to the net. It was a power move. Great on you, Bo.
Yeah. And then Demko again was coming up big, like keeping us in the game and not go down 4-2.
100%.
Yeah. But all in all, this one, like... There were moments of things that were really awesome, but there were also long stretches of like very lackluster play where you're just kind of like you're just hoping for something to happen and nothing was really. We were just stuck in neutral for a while.
Pucks just going back and forth.
So yeah, Minnesota spoils our home opener 3-2. So kind of sucked, but it was again just overall you can take away a lot of positives from it. Like it was just good to have fans back, and
for sure
there were moments of really good things. So
yeah.
Then we're on to October 28th. We had Philly in the house here. Both teams scored on their first shot on net in this game, which is a bit of a rarity. There were some things that you called last episode too. We got hit with another, what I'm going to call the Philadelphia Dank Bank. I don't know if this is a Philadelphia thing or they just save it for us, but it was from the other side of the board. Claude Giroux made a bank pass to Couturier, who did a one-touch pass to Van Riemsdyk in front of the net for a tap-in goal, and it was great.
Which last time Giroux was on the receiving end.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see him on the other end of that, even though it was against us. But it's definitely a play that they've been setting up in practice, and they've been practicing it quite a bit because they had a lot of options with it, and it's a dangerous play. And I think that we knew coming into this game that's a play we had to watch out for, and it was still successful. So it's something we're going to have to really go into detail on further into the season.
Yeah. So then we had a goal from Quinn Hughes on our first shot of the game.
Couldn't have been timed any better.
Yeah, just a point shot that
answered back immediately, which was important because they scored very early on us. So it was nice to see the answer come right away.
Then we had Luke Shannon and Brett Hunt both playing this game. Shannon, I'm never unhappy to see in the lineup. Hunt, I was not really thrilled. But
did we see Shannon in the lineup because McEwen was in the lineup? Is that the question?
No, there were some injuries.
That's true, but I felt like that was a strategic play because Big Mac, he's coming out to, definitely try and scrap with somebody, and I felt like Shannon was kind of the guy to slot in there.
Could have been.
And look what happened.
Yeah, and then, again, another thing that Wes called last episode, we had a scrap, Zach McEwen and Luke Shen.
Yeah.
Canucks got a power play out of it. Luke Shen grabbed his visor. Zach McEwen grabbed Luke Shen's visor.
Yeah, which causes a penalty because that's unsportsmanlike.
And you got to give this one to Luke Shen. It was great for Big Mac to do his thing and get in a fight and try and get some energy, but Shen kind of fed him a couple. Nothing major, but Shen definitely won this one.
He got the better end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, and I think the Shen fight really sparked a momentum swing for the Canucks.
It did.
After that happened. They had a lot of sustained pressure after that.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's hard to judge really what fighting does sometimes, because sometimes it doesn't do anything, but this, I think, clearly motivated
it turned
Canucks.
The tide.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, we had 10 minutes of just kind of bad play, and then after the fight, it just and even before then, after the 10-minute mark, it started to swing our way. With the fight, it just kind of even turned it further, and then we really started to get our game going. So
so good job for Shen, stepping up and doing one of the things he has to do to keep him in the lineup, because not many guys are going to do that on our team.
Nope, that's part of his job, definitely.
And then from the ensuing power play, it was some good signs. We started to see the power play click a little bit. They didn't score, but Petey was firing pucks. He didn't. Yeah. It seems like he hasn't just unleashed a one-timer yet. He has to stop everything, and then he'll skate forward a little bit and then just throw it back to Hughes. But he had 2 or 3 that he just ripped.
Oh, I was really happy to see him and Besser kind of ripping those shots. Yeah. And that's something we haven't really seen yet this season. And, there's no bad shot in the NHL. Just rip it on net. You could possibly get a rebound. Just put the puck on net. Good things happen.
Yeah. Let's clarify. There's no bad shot that hits the net.
Yeah.
Because sometimes...
Brock, you missed the net a couple times. I'm your biggest fan, so I'm not worried about it. Let's just dial it in.
But yeah, so after that kind of... their little run of sustained pressure there, it just kind of fell apart a little bit. The third wasn't great. In my notes here, I just have, Petey... And it sucks to say, because everybody knows how good he is, but he's just playing like trash right now. After that.
He hasn't shown his best game yet.
And here's the thing, I'm not saying scratch him or anything, because I think you have to let him play through it, right? He's just missed a ton of hockey.
Yeah.
So much hockey.
That's the thing. He barely had any games under his belt in the last 2 years. You really got to get his feet wet again.
And it's hard, right? Because you know how good he is.
Yeah. So you hold him to a high standard.
Yeah. And in the heat of the moment, I was definitely upset. And I was like, let's just sit him for a game. But you can't. You have to let him play. But he's just he's tripping over the blue line and fighting every pass, mishandling the puck, making bad passes, couldn't receive a pass.
Which I was kind of unsure if the ice was pretty chippy that night. I noticed our guys were falling all over the place, and I was like, what the hell's going on? It might have been the ice, I don't know, but
yeah, just it's hard to watch it from Petey because we've seen him be so good, and I'm 100% confident he will get back to that dominant level. It's hard to watch him struggle a bit because he's probably overthinking things and stuff. Yeah. And when you see before him just start to shoot pucks, you're like, okay, here we go. Maybe he's getting into the swing of things.
100%. He's just got to let the puck fly.
Yeah, and he just had a bit of a rough third. So.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
But yeah, that's prime Pete. He's a smart guy, and I think when he's reacting, he's better. I think he's thinking through everything he does. The second he gets the puck, or even before when he knows he's getting the puck, he's thinking just too far ahead and not reacting in the moment.
It's chess for him, and he's 3 moves ahead, and sometimes that can hurt you.
Yeah. So it's just... there were signs of him getting back to the old Petey, but then it just... to end like that kind of sucked. So Philly wins this one 2-1. All goal scoring was done in 8 minutes in the first, so interesting game there, but... yeah, so 2 games in the Homestead. I haven't won a game yet, but we got one tonight here. We're recording October 30th.
We're going to win this one. Let's go. And let's get the superstition stuff out there now.
Right, yeah, okay.
There's a reason why I'm not wearing a jersey today, and it's because I want to win tonight.
Wes and I have kind of the same thing. If we weren't doing this, I wouldn't wear a jersey either. I save jerseys for important or special games and playoff games. The Sedin, their last home game, I wore a jersey. Their last game in Edmonton, I wore a jersey. Maybe for an opening night, I'll wear a jersey, but other than that, I'm not wearing a jersey.
So the last couple pods I wore jerseys. You've seen our results lately. So if we go no jersey tonight and we get a dub, guess what? No jersey next episode. Let's go.
Yeah, and if we have another week like we had, I'm not wearing a jersey on the next episode. So
yeah, superstitions are going to start to come into play.
So we should talk about how good Thatcher Demko has been.
Whew, and Halak. He only had some short minutes in the net compared to Demko so far. But, I mean, both goaltenders really lighting it up, and that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, and with Halak, we haven't given him very much support, too. It's unfortunate that he hasn't got to win yet. I don't think he'll play a lot of games, like, barring an injury.
Yeah.
Because Thatcher has just been so good, but you want to see some more goal support for him. If we score 3 goals, like, we were winning that game against Philly, you know?
No, 100%.
Which, from a backup goalie, that's all you can ask for, right?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, we definitely got to get some wins under Halak's belt just so that it gives him more confidence too. But like
both guys have been great.
From how he played in that last game against Philly, like he has all the confidence in the world because he played great.
Yeah, both guys have been so good, and Demko has been making just huge saves. I think he's had the most high danger scoring attempts
100%
against him in the NHL.
So shout out to our goalies because they've been amazing. Shout out to Ian Clark getting the boys ready.
And we got another guy in the minors there, that Silovs, that is looking like a stud too. So it's been a good run from like when I first started watching the team. Like it was kind of a bit of a washed up. Felix Potvin was our starter. Dan Kluche was solid, but he was never amazing.
And
right?
then you got the Luongo run, which is nice.
And like Luongo was brought in, but that's kind of when things started, right? We drafted Corey Schneider.
Yeah.
He was great for a long stretch. Like it's kind of sad to see where he's at now. Like, but he had a long stretch where he was a great goaltender.
Yeah.
And then we brought in Markstrom, but we kind of turned him into the beast he is, and Demko and
Ian Clark, man.
We're turning into a bit of a goalie factory. So it's never a bad thing to have a lot of good goalies. Unless it's a Luongo Schneider situation, I guess. Oh, even Eddie Lack, too. I forgot about Eddie Lack.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about, too, is the spark plug type players. Like, we're getting a nice collection of these guys that have some serious skill. Like, on our roster, who I view as like a spark plug player would be a Conor Garland, JT Miller, and a Hoglander.
Yep.
And
you could almost throw Bo in that same category too, just because he brings that energy. He's always winning battles, but I know what you mean. Like
Bo's more consistent. Like he plays a more even game than something where you.
No, I 100% agree with your choices there.
But it's nice to have so many of those guys where you can, like how we said before, how we put Hog with Petey to get Petey going. Right?
Yep.
Like.
Which, and we only threw forwards in there. You could kind of throw Quinn Hughes in there. Because I think he just elevates everyone's game when they're out on the ice with him. Like, he just shows such a high level, and everyone wants to play at a great level when they're on the ice with him. So,
and I would say the majority of the part, he makes his partner's life easier, right? Because he's going to be the breakout man and everything. He'll get caught offensively once in a while, but that's why you put a good defensive guy with him.
Yeah.
So. And not Tyler Myers like we've been doing.
Yeah, it really sucks that Pullman got injured, but I mean, hopefully that's a short-term thing as well.
And so speaking of the blue line, Travis Hamonic is coming back.
We have some D-man injuries, and he already reported that he would come back and play with the minor league team.
He's been assigned to Abbotsford.
He's going to definitely be coming up and playing.
So when and if, theoretically, the whole blue line is healthy, who do you take out? Like, or does Hamonic, is he a rotational guy? Like,
no, honestly, I think they sit Rathbone. I think I think Burroughs is really...
I did not think you would say that.
No, but I'm high on Rathbone, but honestly, like, Burroughs is
Wes is 9 goals high on Rathbone.
I know, and Burroughs has just won me over, man, and honestly, I see Hamonic just kind of coming in and either playing second or third line and really doing great for us, so... Yeah,
or do you throw him with Hughes and go back to that pairing? Like
you could, because they've played together before, so it's instant chemistry, right? So it's not a bad pairing.
But then if you do that, right, then you probably bump in Myers with Rathbone or Burroughs.
Yeah, I'd rather see Burroughs. From what I've seen so far.
But you can't sit Rathbone all year, though.
No.
Then it's...
Yeah, he's going to get slotted, and I'm sure him and Burroughs will kind of be battling that position and whatever, right?
I could see it being Hamonic, Hughes, OEL, Pullman, Burroughs, Myers, and then when Rathbone comes in, you throw Myers with OEL
and that's interesting because I was talking a little bit of smack on the OEL Myers pairing, but they've been
pretty good.
They've been pretty damn good. 2 big men on the blue line, like you can't argue with it. So
yeah,
I don't mind that pairing at all. I'd kind of like to see it throughout the season, honestly. So
yeah, they have not been like super horrendous, which like I'll admit, like I'm kind of more of an optimist when it comes to certain things. That I was
I was shutting that down right away.
Yeah, I was like, this is doomed.
But right it's just because of the style that Tyler Myers usually plays that I thought it wasn't going to work with OEL.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's worked great, and I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk about too is the Canucks going long stretches without a shot on net. Like, okay, on the road in Seattle, I think they went just about 9 minutes without a shot. On the road, it's a little more understandable, right? Like, maybe the crowd gets into it and the team gets a lot of momentum from that and they're swinging play. But to do it at home, like in Philly, I think they went over 8 minutes without a shot on net. It's just 3 games in a row. You go at least 8 minutes without a shot. Is like that's... You can't do that. You will never win.
No,
doing
which
shit like that.
I think kind of the knock on our team right now is put pressure on us. You put pressure on us, like anyone who holds the puck, you put pressure on them, and it seems like we just fumble plays. We kind of throw pucks away, which that's not how we want to be known as a team. We want to be known as a team as controlling the play and controlling pucks, which is easier said than done. But we just need to be more patient with the puck. We need to trust in our defensemen enough just to throw it back to them, let them kind of make passing plays to kind of tire the offense out from chasing us around so much. Then let's break out of the zone. Let's not just keep trying to break out quickly and just keep failing because that doesn't work.
And I do think you're right. I feel like that is the thing on us is just to get like
pressure.
Yeah, on the penalty kill or on the power play, like it just seems like there's always somebody going towards our guy with the puck. Like nobody's ever like, let's just kind of collapse and like how we do on the penalty kill sometimes, where we just try and let a play happen instead of being aggressive. So it's
that's definitely the knock on us right now, is to put pressure on us and then we kind of fumble it. But I'm sure we'll work out that issue throughout the season.
Another thing I wanted to go over was Conor Garland's career plus minus. I was just bored checking out stats one day, and he was, had a big week last week and all season basically. So I was just looking through some of his stats. In his 3 years in Arizona, he was a -1, which if I had to guess, I would have probably said he was in the 30s or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just it's a Coyote squad that doesn't really score much.
Yep.
And so far with the Canucks, he's a +3. So in his career, he's +2 total. But like, to me, that just shows what kind of a offensive driver he is. To be a plus player on the Coyotes, like, that's big to me in my eyes. Like
100%. It just shows when he's on the ice, he's making stuff happen.
Yeah, he's driving play and like driving possession and not getting caved in defensively. Like it's guy's impressive. Just been so good.
Yeah,
so good. Like
it's very impressive, and that's why I was kind of surprised to see in the Philly game he didn't play very many minutes, and it's because Green didn't feel he was having his best game. But at the same time, we're letting other guys work through their tough times out on the ice and still giving them minutes. Yeah. So I don't see why you don't give him some minutes and kind of try and let him shake that rust off. But hey, Green's the coach. Let him make his decisions. Hopefully he gets more ice time next game because we need him out there.
Yeah, he played, I think it was like 10 minutes and 37 seconds or something like that. So not even 11 minutes on the night for Conor Garland.
Yeah,
so
which is low for him.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. No. Again, I want lots of Conor Garland.
Yeah, so. Me too.
So a couple things we're going to start doing here too. We were just kind of trying to think of like kind of weekly things that we can go over. Obviously we'll go over our score predictions every night or every week. We're going to pick a Canucks player of the week too. So let's go over that right now. Wes, kick it off. Who is your player of the week?
My player of the week is JT Miller. He dropped a huge F-bomb out on the ice, which is kind of funny, but at the same time, his points have been great, and he's just been kind of flying under the radar to some of the broadcasts, and I think he's been doing a lot of good things, and I like seeing the A on his sweater as well, and he's been performing, hasn't been taking stupid penalties, and I think he's my player of the week.
That is not, I didn't think you were going with Millsy.
No.
I am going to give it to Demko.
I hear that 100%. I was this close to giving it to Demmer. He's been lights out.
See, for me, the two, it was between Bo and Demko.
Yep.
Just because Bo had clutch moments throughout.
In my eyes, there was 3 players who deserved it, and those are the 3.
Yeah. And yeah, no disrespect to Bo. Like he had the big goal in Seattle, then another one in Minnesota to get the crowd into it. But Demko's just been lights out. He's been so good, and there are like we said, like the stretches without a shot on net. That's not like us having pressure in the zone and not getting a shot. That's just getting tons of shots against.
Yeah.
So for us to, not get blown out by Minnesota or something.
And stay in the game.
Yeah, that's
huge
all Thatcher.
Saves. Yeah. And that's the thing. So it could have been Bo Horvat, JT Miller, or Thatcher Demko.
Yeah.
All have been great so far.
Even Conor Garland, you could throw in there too.
100%. He had one game where Green didn't think he was playing good. He had low minutes. He definitely could have been in there as well.
So yeah, that'll be a new thing we start doing every week here. Let's go over the games this week here, Wes, and we'll give out our score predictions here. So tonight, October 30th, we have the Edmonton Oilers in Vancouver. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't want to give us a dub every single game,
I'm in the same boat.
Obviously, I'm going to go for a dub on this one because thus far against Edmonton, we have not looked amazing, and plus we've lost a few games to them already, and we haven't won a game at home yet.
Yeah.
So I think tonight we come out flying, we really put it on them, and I think it's going to be 3-2 for the Vancouver Canucks.
What he said? Stole my score prediction, and I think the same thing.
We're coming out hungry tonight.
Yeah, I think McDavid and Draisaitl do what they do, but I think we said this last week too, and maybe we might get proved wrong again. But yeah, I think that it's just they're ready. I think they're gonna be ready.
We have a game plan to beat this team, and we're gonna try and execute tonight. We're hungry for a win at home. We've lost 2 in a row at home. We got to give these fans something to cheer about. We're gonna come out with big hits, big shots on net. We're gonna let pucks fly. Let's go. And
I think they had a good practice the other day too. Yeah. And some of the things Petey said to the media, I really liked too, because they were asking him about struggling a bit, and he said he's not just being negative about it because that does no good. So I like his attitude and his approach. So I think he's maybe not feeling it as much as it looks like on the ice.
For sure.
So, yeah, I agree with you on that. Next, we have November 2nd. The New York Rangers are in the house. As much as I don't want to give them a loss, I'm going to say, because it's the same thing, right? I just want to say the Canucks are going to win every game. I'm going to try and be realistic.
It's hard.
I'm going to say 4-3 for the Rangers.
Ooh,
I'm just going to throw that one out there. I'm not happy about it, but I'm just going to...
I like that prediction, but I think I'm going to go 4-3 Canucks. I think it's a little bit of a high scoring game. And that's the thing, Revo definitely plays a factor on that team. He's an intimidator out there, and I hope he doesn't get in anyone's head on the Canucks, and I hope we can come out with a dub there, but it's going to be a tight game.
And then we have a Friday nighter in Vancouver against the Nashville Predators. I feel like the Canucks usually beat the Predators.
Yep, we usually do.
I'm going to give this one... Oh, you go first. I went first last time.
Okay, I will go... And I've been giving us some low scores, so let's go with a little bit of a higher scoring game. Let's go 4-2 for the Vancouver Canucks on this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one there. I think the last time Nashville was in the house, I was there.
Yeah. That's interesting.
What did we win that one?
Don't ask me.
I don't remember.
I don't got the exact score.
I want to say it might have been 5-2.
Okay.
5-2 Vancouver Canucks.
I expect it to be a little bit of a high-scoring game. We've had low scores so far, so we're going to get that jump eventually.
So yeah, not all negative on the score prediction there.
No.
I do have a tweet of the week to read out here too. Let me pull this one up.
And while you're pulling that up, I forgot to mention Oliver Ekman-Larsson was mic'd up for the Minnesota game, and he challenged a guy to fight. Really like seeing that out of OEL. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I wasn't really... I didn't think that would be a part of his game.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely challenged him. He was like, you want to go? And Buddy denied it. He was like, no. So it was good to see that out of him, sticking up for the boys out there already.
Okay, so the tweet I have here is from Nate at Belzo Fever, I believe. BELLZOFYVR. So this was after Conor Garland shaved his beard.
Oh, I thought that was a big mistake.
Me too.
Yeah, it got his minutes shaved once that happened.
Yeah, so it's maybe green like the beard too. But it's just a picture of Garland walking to the rink without his beard, and it just says, "I still feel very much betrayed," as we all do after that Johnny Canuck tweet too. Like
to shave it after it just didn't make sense.
You should have just rolled with it, Garland. So
Garland,
bring it back and keep it.
Keep the beard, man. Let's go. The minutes will stay high and the goals will keep coming.
The longer your facial hair, the longer your time on ice.
I stole it.
Okay, so the last thing we want to talk about is kind of a serious thing here. It's all the Kyle Beach case that's been going on, and it's important, and we didn't want to start with the show just because it is kind of a sadder thing, so we didn't want to just start the show with that, but it is important enough that we should talk about it.
It needs to be talked about.
Yeah, so it's kind of been crazy, everything that's been coming out for this. It's been 10 years, I believe, since this happened.
Yeah.
And he's finally been, vindicated in his own words, I believe, that, all this happened and it shouldn't have. And it was, covered up by the Blackhawks organization. It's
sickening.
It's crazy. He did an interview. It's all over YouTube. You should really go watch it because it is kind of a tough watch. It's, you definitely feel horrible for the guy, but at the same time, it's come to light, and, hopefully it's the start of changing a lot of things wrong with hockey. Taylor Hall had a quote where he said it's an old boys club, and that's very true. Especially when you hear this, the Blackhawks upper management chose to basically ignore the situation because they were
on the cup run.
Yeah, they had just, I believe they were an hour after they had won the game to send them to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they said, we might never get here again. Let's just, I don't know if I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically just ignore it, and that's kind of what happened for so long. And when you just hear it like that, it's hard to think how did this take so long to happen? But you have to think that Kyle Beach was a 20-year-old kid trying to crack an NHL roster, so he's just
he's worried about his career.
Yeah, and this is his dream, right? It's what he's been working for his whole life. So it's
a sad story, for sure. But I'm glad it's coming to light now, and you see all the people being let go from the NHL right now that were involved,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, 100%. And you see that obviously it was a terrible situation, and hopefully he can start to get some closure here.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to bring up too, they interviewed Taves and Kane about Stan Bowman losing his job, and it's their comments I don't think were very good. So here, obviously, we're not, I won't speak for Wes, I'm not a Blackhawks fan at all. That team stole some dreams from me, basically. And I don't want to make this about me. It's just my view on the Blackhawks. This is not about me. It's just so I'm not trying to be negative just for the sake of ripping on the Blackhawks. I think this is a serious thing that goes outside of hockey, but I think those two failed to realize that. They kind of just praised Bowman for doing a good job when it shouldn't have been about that.
No.
So and I don't want to blame any of the players either for what happened, because those guys were there, but they were kids too, right? Maybe
That's
they didn't know how to handle it.
But when I heard that there was some negative comments coming from the players towards Kyle Beach, that made me sick to my stomach. Those guys should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
So yeah, it's just the whole thing is a crazy situation, and hopefully this sparks a lot of change. And Paul Vincent was the guy Kyle Beach went to kind of get things reported, and he did a lot of work towards this one. So it's good job on Paul Vincent's half, and we just want to say, Kyle Beach, we respect you and
hope you get better.
Yeah, we as I don't know if it means much to you, but we support you. And in our eyes, you're a hero. You're getting the word out for something like that, and hopefully you're the last time it happens.
Yeah.
And
hopefully
all
now
this changes because of you. So,
exactly. Hopefully now this never happens again in the league. It should have never happened in the first place.
Yeah. So good on you, Kyle, and nothing but respect from us.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for Canuckleheads episode 6. Thank you for tuning in. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere there's podcasts, YouTube.
Yep. Subscribe to the YouTube, and please continue to leave comments down below. Leave constructive criticism, whatever you guys feel that we could work on, and we'll definitely respond to it and give you a shout out.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.